the fat man said. He squinted one eye. "We will wait for you here." He tapped his platinum watch. "It is best to be brief." A small old woman wearing a long yellow and red cotton dress approached from the hacienda and took the tall man by the hand. She smiled up at him and led him across the courtyard. The little girl watched with a somber expression. Beneath a fine dark fuzz, her upper lip had the faint pink mark of a cleft palate that had been expertly repaired. The bronze gates before the hacienda's patio were decorated with roughly cast figures of putti, little angels doing chores such as carrying fruit. The angels' eyes, sad but resigned, resembled the eyes of the old woman, and their color was a good match for her skin. Beyond a serious iron door and then a glass door, the hacienda's centrally cooled air stroked the tall man's face. Music played through the broad white rooms, light jazz, Kenny G. The old woman showed him to a white couch and pushed him back until he sat. She knelt and removed his shoes, replacing them with sandals from a pouch concealed in the folds of her dress. Mr. Guerrero appeared, alone, in the doorway to the dining room. He was small and well-formed, and he wore a yellow and black Hawaiian shirt tucked in, and white linen pants and a rope belt. His hair was thick and dark. He looked like a well-to-do man pretending to be a beachcomber. "Mr. Santera, welcome," Guerrero said. "I trust your ride was sincerely terrible?" The tall man, whose name was not Santera, held up a small cloth bag. Glass vials jingled softly inside. "At least nothing broke." Guerrero's cheek jerked. "It is done, then?" "Proof of concept," the tall man said, "pure and lethal. Try it on someone you no longer need." Guerrero held up his hands. "I am not that kind of man," he said. "We will test it in a lab with animals. If it is what you say, you will be given your next money at a place of our choosing. Money is not safe here or in the islands. Terrorism has forced your nation to pay too much attention to world banking." A large, balding black man in a black suit entered from the kitchen and walked around Guerrero. He stood in front of the tall man and held out his hand. He received the bag and opened it carefully. 3 vials filled with fine powder tinkled into his pink palm. "You realize this is not the final product," the black man said in a reedy voice with an Austrian accent to Guerrero. "It proves nothing." Guerrero waved his hand, dismissing that concern. "You will tell me if they have proven good faith before the next payment. Correct, Senor Santera?" The tall man nodded. "I may never see an end to this trouble," Guerrero said. He hadn't taken a step closer since the tall man held up the cloth bag. "But I hope my children will." "Have you viewed the movie M, Senor Santera?" The tall man shook his head. "The underworld of Germany seeks out a child molester and puts him on trial because he is bringing down so much heat on their operations. It is so here. If you keep your promise, we will give those thoughtless monsters what they deserve." He paused, allowing the black Austrian to leave the room with the bag. Then he sat on a heavy wooden chair. His face was lined with years of worry. "You have a dangerous quality. It makes me want to trust you." The tall man didn't acknowledge this compliment, if it was one. "I appreciate that you have come in person. When can I expect news?" "Within 3 months, at most 6. The tall man held out his hand to shake on their deal. Guerrero looked down at the hand. His cheek twitched once more. He looked decades older than his 40 years. "Now you will go," he said. The old bronze woman hustled into the room again and knelt to replace the tall man's shoes. He stood and walked to the door. In the courtyard, they had kept the engine running. The little girl had gone inside. The driver extinguished his cigarette and deposited the butt in a tin he drew from his pocket. The fat man opened the door to the Range Rover and dangled the hood from one hand, smiling. "There are too many bats around here," he said. "I suppose it is because there are so many insects."